Ladies and gentlemen, I did my first premiere was with a comedian friend of mine, Ruben Paul, stand-up comedian, very funny, has toured all over the world with Russell Peters, has been to Black Family, came down to the Black Family at the Dome 2 years ago. I see him all the time if I'm in LA or Montreal, Just for Laughs Comedy Festival. But you all know shit is going down in the US right now, and I spoke to him earlier, but he's here right now, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome one of the funniest people I know, one of the funniest people in the world, the one and only Mr. Ruben Paul.
What up, man? How are you, man? You look at my background, I got the fuck out of LA, man. Fuck this shit. Everybody good? Everybody good?
Man, so Ruben, you can call him Space. He's in my TV show, David Gow's House. He's worked for me for like, I don't know, 7-8 years.
Okay.
Very talented young kid, filmmaking in the mix. He's teaching himself coding.
Dope.
He's out in Soweto.
Okay.
Tshepo Swart, you might remember him from doing our sound at the Dome for my camera shoots.
I thought he looked familiar.
Yeah. See, I was sound for all my movies, man.
Okay. I wish I was out there.
Ruben.
How you, man? I wish I was out there, man. I wish I was out there. It's I mean, you guys have been watching the news and seeing what's going on. It's been crazy. And this is what's fucked up. You guys know this living in South Africa. White people are acting like they fucking didn't know, like, oh shit, there's racism? We had no idea. Really? Why didn't you guys tell us before? Like, motherfucker, we've been telling you guys for hundreds of years how fucked up you've been, man. So, I mean, I'm hoping that there's going to be a change, man, but it's just a part of America, man, that people don't really realize. It is what it is.
So this was my thing, right? I mean, the comment I made, or the WhatsApp I sent you, and I said, this is like 100 times Western apartheid. And I was particularly referring to the looting, right?
Yeah, yes.
Because white people never came and helped us loot, number one, right?
Yeah.
We were looting food and washing powder in the townships, burning township stores and shit, being stupid, right? But being angry, burning schools. Man, I saw people driving out in G-Wagons and vans and I was
Range Rovers, Porsches. Yo, so here's the story for you. So a friend of mine was in Hollywood and they were looting at the spot called the Grove. It's where they got like it reminds me of the place that you took me, Stanton. It reminds me of that Stanton. Yeah, it reminds me of that area. Like there's like Cheesecake Factory and all kind of stores and everything. So like a Range Rover, a Porsche, they wouldn't park in a residential area. And then they're like, hey, what are you doing? You're parking here. And they're like, hey, they're looting and rioting over there. So we want our cars to be safe. So they're standing outside. The people leave. They come back an hour later and they fill up all the cars with shit and then they drive off. They went to go loot and came back and filled the Range Rover, the Porsche, and everything else. And everybody's like, shit, you guys got better cars than we had. Crazy shit,
dude.
Bro.
Remember,
crazy shit, dude.
Our public transport system is even shit. We couldn't loot and carry stuff.
But here's what pissed me off about the dude that left the comment. And I was nice because I've been killing white people all day when I left that is, here you are, a black man from South Africa. You tell me about what your experience is and what your appearance is, and a white guy comes immediately and go, nah, that ain't true. Like, that's just how they think. Is their opinion is the only opinion that counts. Like, motherfucker, I'm the one who is being oppressed. I'm the one who's dealing with the racism. Like, people are asking how you can fix racism is stop fucking being racist. You know who Neil Brennan is, right?
Yeah, no, Neil. Yeah, he directed the Chappelle Show and co-created with Chappelle, right?
So I talked to Neil the other day. We talked for a while, and one thing he said, he's like, Ruben, I'm tired. It's hard teaching white people how not to be racist. And we just started laughing because, he's a white guy and he understands the issue. It's just they're so comfortable and they don't want it to change. And why would they want it to change? Everything benefits them. It takes a lot of compassion to want to change a situation that benefits you. You know what I mean? Like, you're in a good situation. If somebody wanted you to change your lifestyle to help somebody you didn't know, you might be like, And I think that's the overall issue. People don't want to be uncomfortable. They want it to stay exactly the way that it is.
So let me give you a bit of background, because sometimes it feels like Black people just won't stop fighting with each other or hating on each other. So when our lockdown started, the soldiers were in the Black townships, beating up people, punishing them. And I'm gonna cut a long story short, right? In one of the townships next to Santon, Alexandra, there's a guy who was killed. And the wife pretty much said, the soldiers came here, fucked this guy up. Eventually the guy died. Then there was some sort of investigation, and the soldiers were cleared, right? In about 3-5 days, the investigation was done, and the soldiers said, we didn't kill him. Everything is fine. He didn't die in our hands, right? So now, when the Floyd thing happened in the US, and social media went crazy with the Black Lives Matter, it pretty much spread all over the world. Now you come and you're like, Black Lives Matter, hey, George Floyd, this and that. Then another Black person would come and go, yeah, but you said nothing when the soldiers and the other guy in Alexandra was killed. And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? What was I supposed to, what was the script? And I'm asking you because I'm wondering, how far does that take us back? Right?
Bruh, it's just, people want to complain just to complain. I think any atrocity or any loss of life, is sad. But we all know in life, the people who make the most noise get the most attention. There's people out here going, well, you didn't march, when the Mexican guy got killed, you didn't march. Well, you guys ain't saying shit. You know what I mean? When shit happens to Black people, motherfuckers is, like, yo, this is fucked up, and it's like the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So I think a lot of times, people want to always point to other situations when this happened or when that happened. And I think the bottom line is it's all wrong and everything needs to be paid attention to. But in a situation like George Floyd, where the world can see, the whole world didn't see what happened, what that soldier did to that guy. That's just the difference. Why do people care more about shit that happens to LeBron James or to, Michael Jordan or to anybody else? People die every day, but when a celebrity dies, it's big news. Why? Because everybody knows who that person is. So I just think it's unfortunate. Everybody's life is valuable and important, but in the society that we live in, the people who are the most popular are the ones that are going to get the attention. But there's a lot of people who have died where there were no cameras around and they didn't get the attention that they deserve. Those motherfuckers in Georgia who killed Ahmaud Arbery, they were chilling at home for 3 months until the video came out. When the video came out, that's when everybody went crazy. It was like, this is murder. And then 3 months later, they finally charged the guys after the guys had been chilling at home and going to church and doing whatever they were doing, while no one knew but the family what was going on. And then when that video went viral, everybody's like, what happened? How come no one was charged? They let the guys go. They didn't even file any charges against them.
Have you seen a video of a Black guy that they ended up, they set a dog on him and they hit him with dustbins?
Yeah.
When did that happen? Does anyone know?
Here's the problem with some of these viral videos. So there's been so much shit that didn't get attention that I think some people are releasing videos, because sometimes you'll see something like there's a new video going where these two police officers in New York are wrestling with the guy on the ground, and then a gun comes out and they shoot the guy on the ground. That happened over a year ago.
In the back, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that happened a while ago. So to be honest with you, I don't know, but you know, there's a lot of stuff happening, man.
Man, you know, I'm sitting here wondering how freely I walk when I'm in the States, right? But obviously I'll be in like New York or Manhattan, we'll be in Malibu or and Santa Monica, maybe Hollywood. But the one thing I always thought was with the crime and the crime rate in South Africa, I always feel safer when I'm anywhere outside South Africa, for that matter. Even in the DRC, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, I feel safer than I do when I'm at home, right?
Why?
Because the violence for us, we've become so desensitized. Let me tell you, just today, Ruben, we came into level 3, which is a lowered level of lockdown in South Africa, right? On Monday. Today, brother, there was a cash in transit heist. There were 4 guys who dressed up in PPE, protective clothing, and robbed a pension pay point. Took about $20,000 US. The cash in transit guys, I'll send you videos later on. The cash car is coming and they drove like a Mercedes-Benz into it, burned the Mercedes-Benz, bombed the cash money, the cash truck. People were picking up whatever was left that they could pick up. That is how desensitized we have become when it comes to crime. You could get robbed, Ruben, by like 5, 6 guys walking in Joburg city center, downtown, and the other 100 people around you will act like everything is normal.
True.
So when this shit happens with the cops, right? Now I'm thinking, man, you know, I was in New York in November, you know. In my head, I'm not thinking anything could happen to me, you know. In fact, I would even joke around with the cops that are always chilling at Times Square. When I was there with my kid, you know, he would pose with the cops and take pictures on their cop cars because he's just excited. He's seeing like a American police car, you know?
Yeah.
And then there'll be that one incident, bro, where I'm just like, actually, you know what? I'm okay here at home, man.
Well, here's the problem, man, is it's almost like what people don't realize is like we're seeing what's happening right now. The world is seeing what's happening, but the whole time it was right under the surface, and it was that one thing that exposed everything. Now, just because, you know, I was telling somebody earlier is just because, you know, things are quote unquote fine and we're not complaining or looting or rioting or doesn't mean that we're happy. Doesn't mean that we're not upset about the conditions of the state of the United States and what's happening to Black people. But we kind of just, I think white people and everything, like sometimes if you don't say something, people think you're okay with it. And I think sometimes silence makes people comfortable, like, oh, they're not complaining. They must not be, you know, mad about it. And then now you see a situation where this thing with Floyd happened, the thing with Ahmaud Arbery happened, the thing with Breonna Taylor happened, the thing with the white lady, you know, calling the police on the guy and acting like she was being attacked. Like all that stuff exploded with George Floyd dying. Then you see what's really, how people have really been feeling the whole time.
When you guys see white people joining in the protests, which obviously in South Africa there were white people that were, you know, they were out there, they were trying to do their bit. Some joined the struggle and joined the African National Congress. For you guys, what happened with that line? We are out here, we're protesting, right? And there's some white people that are supporting us. And then when the looting started, I've seen more images, and I know people will say whatever after this comment. I've seen more images and videos of white people looting and taking some nice shit than I've seen black
Absolutely.
people.
Absolutely. And I think, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, man. There's groups that are going in there that are not for Black Lives Matter, that's just trying to start shit so black people will get the blame for it. There's been reports of people bringing bricks, dropping bricks off and just leaving them on a corner, you know, to tempt people to do violent protests. That's why you'll see a lot of black people out there yelling like, "Hey, stop fighting, stop." That's not why we're out here. We're not out here to loot. We're not out. We're here to have our voices heard. And of course, you're always going to have knuckleheads or people looting. Like, that's just life. No matter you're white, black, or whatever, there's always going to be people who are going to take advantage of a situation. But for the most part, there are some divisive people who have come in and done things to try to make the movement look bad. You put up a question a moment ago where someone said, is the Black Lives campaign serving its purpose, or is it dividing the races apart? We've already been divided.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've already been divided. The problem is, I think now, the good part I'll say now is, for some reason, which is a good thing, and thank God, maybe this George Floyd situation woke some white people up. I think more white people are starting to understand when black people say all lives matter, it doesn't mean that we're saying our lives matter more than anybody else. That's never been the thing. When you say all lives, black people should already be included in all lives. So when we say Black Lives Matter and you go, no, all lives matter, you're a fucking asshole. Of course all lives matter. The reason why we're saying Black Lives Matter is you guys don't fucking treat us like our lives matter, period. That's why we have to say it. That's why I got into an argument when I came and did Blacks Only with some white American going, oh, that's racist. Why? If we had a show that was called Whites Only, you know, you would say that was racist. Well, guess what, dude? All your shows for a long time have always been all white. And this Blacks Only is what my friend David Cow came up with, and it's a play on apartheid. And guess what? We still include other races on his show because black people aren't fucked up like you guys. So what are you talking about? Why do we have to have BET? We have to have BET, which is Black Entertainment Television. We have to have that because we weren't getting
black people on TV.
But it's hard for them to understand that. That's how deeply ingrained racism is into the fabric of American society. That if I say, why do we have to have songs that say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud? We have to have songs like that because we've been told we are pieces of shit since slavery. So you have to find things to lift your spirit and lift your self-esteem, to hold your head high with dignity, to understand that you're equal and you're not lower than anybody else. But they don't understand the conditions that they caused. You know what I mean? And they try to hide behind, oh, we're all equal. That happened 400 years ago. Now everything. No, dude. Racism is in the fabric of our country, man. The fact that, you know, white people get so many more opportunities than we get, even still today in 2020. You know, and here's the thing that pisses me off. With all the looting and everything that's going on, is everybody is focusing so much on that, but not why are people out in the streets in the first fucking place? Why are we out marching? Everyone just woke up one day and go, hey man, let's loot. No, everybody saw what happened. Everybody's angry and they went out there, and some idiots went out there and they started looting. That's not what this thing is about. And what they're doing is wrong. But you know what was more wrong than looting? Killing that man. That was more wrong. Those buildings are going to get, you know, back. And I'm not condoning it. There's a lot of black businesses that got destroyed, and it's hard. But it's a lot of pain. But I'm going to focus on the problem that caused the looting. That's what I'm going to focus on. Because if we can solve that problem, everything else will be solved.
So now, for instance, you know, for me, right, even though making that comment that this is like back in the days during apartheid, and then I replied just before I send you a message. The first time I was shot with tear gas. I was 5 years old. I was finding my way back home because I used to walk quite a distance from home to school, right?
Wow.
And a random person in the middle of there looting the shops, fucking stealing washing powder, took like a bottle of Coke, gave it to me. Then we would walk to the next whatever section of the township. Because he literally, I was like, what the fuck is this 5-year-old doing? You know, took my shirt, made it wet, wrapped it around me for tear gas. And I was 5 years old at the time. You know, eventually, by the time we were like 6, 7, rubber bullets were like, you know, the police, Caspers would come in the township and would just start running. You know, my daughter is 7 years old, bro. I don't even want to let her out of the estate where we live, right? Mm-hmm. I was running away from cops in the 80s, in the like 86, you know. Jeez. And now I'm looking at these images, and that's why I said to you, for me, this is like South Africa 20, 30, 40, 30 to 40 years ago, right?
Yeah,
because the most we could do was toy or protest, loot where we can, ban stuff where we can. Obviously, the ANC, the African National Congress, had their military wing where there were like serious bombings happening at certain,
absolutely,
points of interest in the country. But that was some hectic shit. But where we thought we were gonna wake up and go to school that day, in the local, you know, in the townships where we were living. For me, I'm looking at the States, bro, and how people are just like, we can't take this shit anymore. And I promise you, brother, it is not that different from where South Africa came from, you know, 30, 40 years ago. And I'm sitting here and asking myself, if the United States is in this place now, what's going to happen next week? What's going to happen next month? You know?
And here's the thing, David. The reason why when you sent me that message, it really resonated with me is, you know, if you talk to American, you know, white America is like, oh, South Africa, they're behind the times, and that's like you guys are behind us, and apartheid was disgusting, and it's like what you guys have been doing is just as worse, but you just didn't call it apartheid, you know, and you give the illusion of freedom. And it's not saying that Black people aren't doing well, but for the most part, most Black people are suffering in this country. And even when you do succeed and do well for yourself, there are still opportunities that you don't get based on, you know what I mean? Like when you can go to any level, Denzel Washington don't get the same opportunities Tom Hanks gets.
That's a fact, right?
Yeah. You know, but here's the problem. The white person who works at McDonald's wants to compare himself to Denzel. It's like, no, dude, that's not what it is. Denzel's an extraordinary human being. He'd be, you know, he's great no matter what race he is. You know, but you can't compare all Black people to Denzel Washington or Michael Jordan. There's a whole segment of the population that don't know where they're going to get their next meals from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what people are forgetting. They see Oprah Winfrey and Michael Jordan and Denzel Washington. They think all Black people are doing great. And it's a small percentage of Black people are doing great. And that's the problem.
I want to ask you maybe one last quick question so I can let you go. I'm sure you were busy with your day, brother.
Yeah.
I saw a clip of Obama crying at a press conference or something.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, people thought America would be different having a Black president, right? Or after having a Black president. What happened?
Bruh, so much happens. I mean, in our system here, like some people in their mind, they think the president is the king. Like he can just make laws and do whatever he wants. It doesn't work like that. You know, the president oversees everything, but you have a Congress, you have a Senate, you have things that have to get passed. There's no unilateral decisions. Like the president has to have permission to do certain things. And a lot of, there's a lot of people who criticize Obama, and at the end of the day, man, politicians are politicians. I appreciate some things Obama did on a social level, like to give kids hope that one day they can possibly become president. But at the end of the day, he's a politician. You know what I mean? And I do understand that there's certain things that he wanted to do that he just wasn't allowed to do. And I think, when Obama left the White House, so many, I mean, he dealt with a lot of racism, man, that the world probably isn't even aware of, man. Like people like putting up posters calling him a monkey, and it was ugly. People hated the fact that he was president. And then after he left, we go straight from an educated, articulate man who seems to be morally sound to the guy we have in the White House now. That's the complete opposite. And so when you ask me what happened, look at what happened. We went from dignity, dignified, morality, God-fearing man, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, wanted change, wanted about inclusion, to somebody that is complete opposite, who would never say Black Lives Matter, who doesn't give a damn about our community, or anybody, but making money in his own needs, and has alienated people all over the world, from Asia to Africa to, it goes on and on and on, man.
Do you think Black people should collectively say, you know what, fuck it, we are leaving the States, it's not for us, or we're gonna go find ourselves another home somewhere?
Well, Marcus Garvey preached that years ago, about that whole Back to Africa movement. I think it was in the late 1800s, which a lot of Black nationalists adopted part of his philosophy, not necessarily go back to Africa, but that Black people need their own separate, communities. We need to take our resources and keep them within the community economically. There was a time where there was an area where it was called Black Wall Street, where there are Black businesses and Black grocery stores, Black doctors' offices, Black lawyers, anything Black, optometrists, whatever you needed, everything was Black. And then the white people came and burned it down.
I saw videos of that recently.
Yeah. So if people should Google Black Wall Street, and people feel like we should have that, type of structure today for our communities, so we can be self-sufficient, without them. And I think it's an issue, man. We do need our own independence. We do need to support each other. I think, here's the thing: we just want equality, man. That's all we want at the end of the day.
Nothing extra special, right? Just normal. Just like everybody else.
Normal. It's the same rights that you have. If me and you make the same amount of money, I'm Black, you're white, and we should have the same opportunities, man. But it doesn't work like that. There were times in this country where they would give loans. Think about this. And I posted a video on my IG. You can see it. Viola Davis posted it. It's a cartoon, but we all knew this. There was a time where they would give poor white people a loan before they would give it to middle-class Black people. So they know I have the ability to pay it back, but instead, let's give these white people a chance instead. And that's how the disparities in the communities and the redlining and all these things that happen in our country was just a part of it. And no one spoke up to say anything.
And the white people were less likely to pay back the loan, right?
Yeah. And then they were forgiven. It's easy to tell somebody to get their shit together when everything that you've done has been given to you. You got a head start. But yet they want to say Black people are lazy, they're this, they're that. But, you rigged the game. You set it up in your favor. And it's not saying that despite everything else, Black people have still succeeded in a racist white supremacist system. So it is possible, but you can't expect every Black person to be a fucking superhero, bro. I'm fortunate. You're fortunate. We can overcome a lot of the obstacles that are put, but you think everyone can overcome all the obstacles? Not everyone. And that's not fair. Why does it have to be extraordinary circumstances where, just our school system and everything? It goes on and on and on, dude. We can talk hours about this, but You got some of the same things back home, but we should talk more about this, D.
We should talk more about it, because when you think of South Africa and you think now we've got like a black government, you assume we are all good, everything is fine, right?
Yeah.
But I tell you now, man, 27, 26 years later, since apartheid ended, we had democracy, we had our government. Some people would say to you their lives were better during apartheid. Some black people would say that to you. Not all of them, right? Everybody has got their own reasons. My career would not exist if it wasn't for the black government. I would never have existed. You understand? That freedom would never have been there. So that may be all I got. And then I had this career. And yeah, maybe I don't get sponsored by government. They're not paying for my shows. I'm not on a grant or whatever, but because I can always go back to, it's almost like a guilt feeling that you have. And while voting for the same, right? But now people are starting to go, this is some bullshit. We're getting tired as well, So
but like,
it's a mind fuck, man.
Yeah, and like I was saying earlier, the thing that's infuriating, the thing that dude pissed me off is, in America, we try to act like we're better than South Africa. Like, oh, apartheid, those people were racist and this, and that. It's like, you're doing worse shit here, bro. We're not any better than anybody else. Trump, we're the greatest country in the world. Make America. When you travel, you know how much I travel, Dave. I've been all over the world. And when you go and your mind is open, because they brainwash you in America. You think everywhere else is fucked up except America. That's kind of how you think. We're better than everybody. And then you go to other places. Like I remember going to Sweden, and me and Eddie, we ended up going to some bar. We were just exploring. We go to this bar, we hear jazz music being played. We go down there, we see these black dudes in Sweden, man, a whole fucking band. We're talking to them like, yo, what in the hell are you doing in the whitest country in the world? Why are you here? They're like, man, it's beautiful here. They're like, I ain't never going back to the US. We got free health care. They just started telling me all the things. The government encourages you to have kids, and they'll pay for one child to go to college, like all these amazing things. And here in America, we have millions of people with no health care, man, that can't go to a doctor that's dealing with this COVID virus situation here, that can't afford in the United States of America. But we want to point at South Africa and say apartheid and they were racist and we're more progressive than they are. Apartheid just ended in 1993. They're so backwards. But it's like, yo, desegregation ended, and then you guys just put a lot of other shit, roadblocks in place so we wouldn't prosper. So we're no better than South Africa. Like we joke every time. The first time I went to Africa on any level, it's just like you feel embarrassed as an American. Go, man, I've been lied to. Where are all the lions and the giraffes walking down the street? How come you got clothes on, man? You're supposed to be barefoot. You know what I mean? They try to paint Africa like Africa is this, third world country. Not saying that, you don't have areas like that, but they try to make it seem every African is walking around barefoot with a fucking spear and a bone in their nose, and people fucking believe that shit. And then you come to Africa, and it's like, yo, there's a Ferrari, there's a Range Rover, there's a Porsche, there's a Rolls Royce. Whoa, they have that in Africa? Like, yeah, dude, don't believe what the American media is telling you. American media is telling you that all are criminals, So I don't buy into that shit. That's why, dude, I was just talking to Tony Rock.
Yeah.
And me and Tony was like, yo, dude, soon as I, get this next big thing, I'm buying a place somewhere in South Africa, whether it's in Joburg or Cape Town or somewhere, bro.
Yeah.
Urban, come on, man.
I think consciously, besides you as my friend and all my other friends, I think consciously African Americans must start thinking of some sort of a retreat, or once a year, I'm going to go to Africa. It doesn't have to be South Africa.
Yeah.
just to be like, you know what? I need to start getting this shit in my head that there's another home. There's a home for me somewhere where I can just be whoever the fuck I want, you know.
Bruh.
Black or white, you know. Some of us have mixed wives, you know. It's our life. It's who we are, you know. So I can now from there, I can now go to Greece because my wife will feel better. Now I'm gonna feel like, what the fuck am I doing here? You know.
But remember, I think it was the second time I came to South Africa when I said something about the motherland and everybody fucking got quiet. And then they're like, why do black people always come to Africa and say, you know, it's the motherland? You know, we ain't never been to Africa. But like I explained to the audience, I don't know if you remember this. And I think what happens is people don't realize that
what it means
America,
to you.
what it means to us, especially when you're educated. When you come to Africa, one thing, and my family's from Haiti, but I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, California. This is where I'm from. This is the only home I've ever known. I've been in the United States my whole life. We only make up 13% of the whole population. When I came to Africa for the first time, I said, holy shit, there's a lot of fucking black people. I've never seen black people in my life. In my life, dude. Fucking black people everywhere. And I think sometimes you guys don't realize that we're surrounded. I can get on an airplane. I can get on an airplane in the United States of America and be the only black person on the airplane.
On a normal day, nothing special. Not a holiday. Just
On a
another
normal
day.
day. I could be the only black person. That shit would never happen in Africa. Like you'd go like dude, when we went to what's it? Nando's. Is that the chicken place?
Nando's.
Yeah. Like you fucking go to Nando's and it's all fucking black people. You go to McDonald's, it's all fucking black people. You go to the fucking hotel, it's all black people. Like, dude, it's not like that. It is not like that. You gotta go to the hood for that. Like you go places there, you know, you got Mexicans, you got everything. But dude, when I stayed at the hotel, man, this shit almost made me cry. You remember they put me up at that they changed the name of it.
The West Cliff.
The West Cliff. So dude, none but white people at that hotel. That's where all the celebrities and shit stay, right? So dude, I would go for the free breakfast every morning. And again, all black people serving people, you know, the waiter, the cleaning up, all black people. So all black people working, but I'm the only black person that's actually eating there.
That's not working.
Yeah.
But Ruben,
Yeah.
look, like the breakfast is not free, bro. Like it's like 320. It's like 320, my man. It's just the hidden costs. It's the hidden cost there, my man. You don't see it. It's free because waking up and say, look, you've got breakfast, but then it's 320, man. It's like continental.
Like $3, $4.
$20.
It's $20, man.
But check this out. Yo, they put me up in that hotel for a week. I stayed at that badass hotel for a week. I went to breakfast every morning. My last day there, the staff came out from the back because they all came back. They're like, we know this is your last night, your last breakfast here. It was great to serve you. And all these motherfuckers clapped for me, dude. I wanted to take all them back. Like, yo, come back to America. We need more black people. Come back with me, man.
Ruben, do you know why I'm laughing though?
Yeah.
Like space, right?
Mm-hmm.
You slept at the West Cliff, bro. have you ever shot in Kronstadt?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's David's hometown, right?
I'm taking them everywhere, brother. Part has done sound from the first movie I ever made 8 years ago to almost 99% of every single movie, comedy show, feature film that I've ever done. The 1% where I didn't hire him because I thought he was expensive. Got on air. The sound was so shit. So that means wherever we're shooting, if we're shooting in some place where the only motel is like a 2-star, then that's where they're fucking sleeping.
Hey, no, hey, if I come out there, I'm sleeping in your car. That's where I'm gonna sleep.
No. Like now that 2-star hotel near Ruben, it's top class, bruh. Like it's clean.
Yeah, it is.
And Space wanted to sleep with me at some other time. I'm like, no, bruh. Like I'm the HOD. I will not share a bed with another man. So you will find a
I
bed
never said I
somewhere.
wanted to sleep with you.
No. Now that's out of translation now. I said we will not.
Bruh, I can't wait. I can't wait to be back. I can't wait to go back, dude. I want to come back so bad. I would sit in the plane with everybody with COVID and fucking fly back.
No. We will not allow you in the country. We have survived this long.
And I'll say this before I go. Is you're seeing all the protests, right? Of everybody.
Yeah.
And the whole fucking time, dude, you know, I'm thinking to myself, what are the fucking COVID numbers going to be in about 2 weeks? You know, because everybody's out with they don't have masks on. Everybody's angry. And of course, people don't give a fuck. They're like, fuck it. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to protest. I'm angry. But the sad part is, here's the crazy part. Here's the crazy part about all this shit. Black people are getting killed by the police in America, right? Everybody knows that. Secondly, black people are affected more by COVID than any other race here in America. So we're dying by the police and we're dying by COVID, but we're going out there to fight the police, putting ourselves in more danger to die again.
Yes. Yeah.
Think about that, man.
Death sentence either way.
Either way, bro. Either way, but you know, I think the mentality of the black people going out there goes, if I have to die from COVID, at least it's going to be better for the generation that comes after us. You know,
brother, I'm so sorry, man. Like, you know, I feel like because obviously social media, like you said, when you see it, you see it. Apartheid, some people couldn't see it, some knew, some kept quiet. Every day, man, everything happens in front of a phone, in front of a camera, in front of a television screen, and it immediately goes out. So we see this shit, brother. You know, and I'm like, fuck, where's Ruben? You know, where's Dwayne? You know, I've seen Russell. Russell is fucking angry, you know? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, we sit here and we're thinking the American dream, brother. And now we're like, what the fuck?
It's hard, man, because everyone gets promised the American dream, the American dream. Listen to you saying the American dream. The phrase American dream is known all over the world. And then you have a group of people here that live here, that were born here, and have not been able to partake in the American dream. And that's what the problem is. And people are tired. You know,
mindful.
Yeah, man.
Brothers, thank you so much for jumping in. And I know we didn't plan this shit.
I hadn't planned, but you know I love you, brother, and I appreciate you guys. I will not be staying in any 2-star hotels when I come out.
But Ruben, I think Ruben, you should actually come back when we have our first blacks only COVID in Empress Palace. No, because the last time you killed.
I would love to come back, man. I'm dead serious though, Dave. Like, we'll talk off air, but I'm close to selling the show, man. If I get a nice chunk, man, I want to get a place out there, bro, because I need to disconnect from this shit, man. Now is the best time.
because of this corona shit, and people can't pay their shit, and the banks are gonna fuck them anyway.
Yeah, well, hey man.
And then rather you get my house than some other bitch, you know?
Yeah, exactly. What are you saying, Black? What are you about to say?
I think you can go to Space's neighborhood because the houses there can go from 400,000 rand. So that's about
30,000. That's $20,000.
Yeah, cash, all cash.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like build rooms there at the back. No, Ruben, you were there to sleep.
I don't think you wanna live in Soweto after this shit.
No. So it is good, guys.
But it's cool, but you don't wanna go from the LA Riots and go live in Soweto.
I don't want to live there, but you took me to that. You took me to that day party in Soweto. We had a blast at that day party.
No, but then Soweto is like Brooklyn.
You know when we went with Ruben in Soweto?
Where?
There they have bungee jumping.
Orlando.
Oh yeah, at Power.
Yeah, what's that
Power
place?
Park.
The place?
My gosh, no.
Yeah,
no, that's not
Park,
Soweto, bro.
That area, that club.
Yes.
Man.
No, that's Power Park.
Huh? Which one?
No, the name of the venue, of the joint, where people can go bungee jumping next to the two towers.
Yeah, towers. Yeah.
It's Chapozi. It's Chapozi.
It's Chapozi.
It's Chapozi.
Yeah, but then that's a very touristy part of Soweto.
Before I go, let me tell you this. So David takes us. David, I'm in the car with David. There's no parking anywhere. And then I'm like, damn, dude, where we gonna park? David sticks his head out the window. They're like, hey, what's up, David? They fucking do everything. So David can park. Hey, I love you, brothers, man. Be safe, man.
No, thanks a lot, Ruben.
Stay safe.
Thanks a lot, bro.
All right, guys. I'm out.
All right.
Cool.